Why you don't need friends. After 70. Embrace independence, live happier. You've lived through many seasons of life. You've learned lessons that no one can teach you, those of joy, sorrow, love, loss, success, and failure. You've walked down roads with others, and sometimes you've had to walk them alone. But now, as you reach your 70s and beyond, there's an incredible revelation waiting for you, a wisdom that only age can bring. You don't need friends to feel fulfilled or happy. It might seem like an odd thing to say, especially in a world that tells us we're supposed to constantly surround ourselves with people. But hear me out. There's a different way to approach life in your later years, one that brings peace, joy, and a freedom that you may have never imagined. For much of our lives, we are conditioned to believe that social circles are the key to happiness. We're told to make friends, maintain relationships, and be surrounded by others. We spend so much time chasing companionship, approval, and social status that we forget something deeply important. Happiness comes from within, not from external validation. Now, as you enter this new phase of life, it's time to reconsider the old narrative. The truth is, after 70, the desire for constant social interaction, the need for external validation, and the obligation to maintain relationships begins to fade. There's a quiet power in solitude. It's not about loneliness. Loneliness is the absence of connection, while solitude is a conscious choice to nurture your inner peace and personal growth. There's a quiet joy in being able to wake up every day with nothing expected of you, with no one relying on you for attention or emotional support. You've probably already experienced some of this. Maybe you've found that as you've aged, the relationships that once felt so important have become more like a drain than a source of energy. Maybe you've distanced yourself from people, not out of anger or resentment, but simply because you've come to realize that you can thrive without the constant noise and expectation. This is a powerful truth that many people don't realize until much later in life, and it's okay. There's nothing wrong with wanting less. In fact, the less you feel the need to constantly be surrounded by others, the more space you have to grow into yourself, free of the distractions that often come with trying to meet others' needs. You can finally enjoy the simple pleasures, dive deeper into your passions, and focus on what truly matters to you without worrying about pleasing anyone else. In this video, we're going to explore the 7 powerful reasons why you don't need friends after 70, and why embracing independence can be the key to living a happier, more peaceful, and more fulfilling life. It's not about shutting people out or rejecting the bonds you've built over a lifetime. It's about finding the strength to be okay with yourself, to live for yourself, and to understand that happiness is something that comes from within, not from external sources. If you've ever felt like you were too old to change, too set in your ways to try something new, or like the world was moving on without you, this message is for you. There is so much to be gained from this next chapter of your life, and it begins with embracing the freedom that comes with independence. It's time to let go of the belief that you need constant companionship to be happy. You can live on your terms, and in doing so, you'll unlock a peace and fulfillment that might just be waiting for you to claim it. So, let's dive into the reasons why embracing your independence after 70 is not only possible, but something you should celebrate. 1. The freedom to be yourself. There's a certain kind of freedom that comes with age, a freedom that becomes clearer the older you get. By the time you reach your 70s, you've already spent so much of your life trying to be something for someone else. Whether it was being the perfect spouse, the ideal friend, or the responsible parent, you've done it all. But now, at this stage in life, something remarkable happens. The weight of expectations begins to lift. The pressure to fit into certain molds, to meet societal standards, or to please everyone around you fades away. And in that silence, you find the freedom to simply be. For years, you may have caught yourself adjusting, reshaping, or even hiding parts of yourself in order to fit in. The subtle and sometimes not so subtle pressures from family, friends, and society can shape who you think you should be. But as you enter your 70s, there's a powerful realization that you don't need to do that anymore. The opinions of others, their judgments, and their ideas of who you should be simply don't matter as much. You're free to be yourself, completely and unapologetically. It's a gift. No longer bound by the need to impress or seek approval, you can fully embrace your authentic self. This is where the true joy lies. There's nothing quite like waking up in the morning and knowing that the only person you need to answer to is yourself. Your wants, your needs, and your desires are what matter now. And the best part? You no longer feel guilty for putting yourself first. This freedom allows you to finally let go of the masks you've worn all these years. Maybe you've always been the dependable one in your circle, the person everyone turns to for advice or support. Or perhaps you've been the one to always organize events and keep the group connected. But now, the freedom to simply be who you are, without the obligation to fit a certain role, is a relief. You get to be you, fully, without trying to meet anyone else's expectations. It's liberating. And the beauty of it is, this freedom doesn't just bring peace, but also a deeper understanding of who you really are. You start to realize that your worth isn't tied to how many people depend on you or how many relationships you maintain. It's about the strength and peace you carry within. You've spent years giving parts of yourself away to others. Now it's time to give back to yourself and embrace the peace that comes from being wholly who you are. 2. No drama, no stress, peace of mind. When you were younger, it's likely that relationships, whether with family, friends, or colleagues, came with their fair share of drama. You might have dealt with misunderstandings, conflicts, and the constant need to put out emotional fires. And while relationships can be beautiful and fulfilling, they can also bring a level of stress that's exhausting, especially as you get older. The good news is, as you grow into your 70s, you start to realize that you no longer need to be entangled in the drama that often comes with close relationships. It's not that you don't care about people. It's that you've learned over time that emotional turbulence takes a toll on your well-being. You don't have the energy for it anymore, and frankly, you don't need to. The stress of constantly having to manage other people's emotions, navigate their issues, and solve their problems just doesn't seem as important. The clarity of age allows you to see the value of peace over chaos, and it's a beautiful thing. By embracing independence in your later years, you're creating a sanctuary for yourself, a space where you can take a deep breath, free from the obligations and emotional strain that relationships sometimes bring. You've likely had your fair share of misunderstandings and conflicts with others. And while you may have worked through them in the past, there's a moment when you realize you don't need to continue subjecting yourself to that. The constant back and forth, the need to keep everyone happy, and the emotional weight of dealing with people's drama can drain you. But once you're free from that, you enter a new realm of peace of mind. This newfound tranquility allows you to spend your time and energy on what truly matters: your health, your happiness, your hobbies, and your spiritual or personal growth. You're no longer required to manage other people's moods or emotions. And in the process, you begin to feel lighter. No more second-guessing your decisions or walking on eggshells around others. Instead, you enjoy your own company, your own rhythm, and your own sense of balance. When you embrace independence, you take control of the emotional landscape of your life. You set the boundaries you need to maintain a sense of peace, and you honor your own mental health. The drama that once followed you fades into the background as you learn to protect your emotional well-being. It's a privilege to let go of unnecessary stress, and the peace that follows is a reward in itself. 3. No expectations, no disappointments. One of the greatest gifts of aging is the ability to let go of expectations, those unspoken rules, wishes, and hopes that you once carried around like an invisible burden. When you're younger, you may have felt that maintaining relationships, whether with friends, family, or acquaintances, required you to meet certain expectations. Perhaps it was always being there for others, keeping up with social obligations, or fulfilling a particular role in someone else's life. And when those expectations were not met, the resulting disappointments could sting. But as you reach your 70s, there's a profound shift that happens in your perspective. The need to meet other people's expectations begins to diminish. You realize that it's okay to let go of the pressure to constantly satisfy others, and that's when life becomes a lot simpler and, in many ways, more rewarding. The idea of being let down or disappointed by others starts to lose its power over you. You're free to live in a way that feels right for you, rather than always adjusting yourself to someone else's idea of how you should be. It's a liberating feeling to realize that the world doesn't hinge on your ability to live up to others' demands. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The older you get, the more you begin to understand that your happiness doesn't depend on how others act or how they expect you to behave. You learn that it's not your responsibility to meet every need or expectation that others have of you. This realization allows you to feel more at ease with yourself. You no longer have to worry about disappointing anyone or feeling guilty because you didn't follow through on some social obligation. The absence of those pressures opens up space for you to do what feels good for you, without the looming fear of disappointing others. When you embrace independence after 70, you are free from the emotional weight of expectations. The mental and emotional energy you once spent on trying to meet everyone else's needs can now be redirected towards your own well-being and fulfillment. This shift in perspective allows you to create a life that feels authentic and true to yourself, with no strings attached. You can focus on the things that bring you joy, knowing that you're not bound by the emotional labor of other people's desires. This new freedom can be exhilarating. It means living life on your terms, where disappointments are fewer because you're no longer bound by expectations that don't serve you. You can take comfort in knowing that you are enough, just as you are, and that you don't need to fulfill anyone else's idea of perfection. 4. Personal growth. Constant learning and self-improvement. A common misconception about aging is that it signals the end of personal growth, that by the time you hit your 70s, you should have already figured it all out. But the reality is that age is not a barrier to growth. In fact, it can be the best time to continue evolving. The beauty of embracing independence at this stage of life is that you now have the space and time to focus inwardly on your own growth, to explore new interests and to develop new skills without the distractions that social obligations and other people's expectations often bring. In the past, you may have felt the pressure to conform, to fit into certain societal molds, or to live up to the achievements of others. But as you step into your later years, the need for approval from the outside world fades. This opens up an exciting possibility, the opportunity to continue learning for the sake of your own joy, satisfaction, and fulfillment. You're no longer tied to a career trajectory or the need to prove your worth through external achievements. Instead, you have the luxury of learning for the pure enjoyment of it. Whether it's picking up a new hobby, diving into a subject you've always wanted to study, or developing new creative skills, the ability to grow and change in your 70s is not just possible, it's empowering. With fewer external pressures, you can delve deeper into the things that truly interest you, without the rush or the fear of running out of time. Time itself becomes a gift, one that you can spend on cultivating your mind and spirit. You might decide to learn a new language, take up painting, write a book, or become deeply involved in a community cause. No matter what you choose, the pursuit of personal growth allows you to stay mentally and emotionally engaged with the world around you. The act of continuing to learn enriches your life, keeps your mind sharp, and nurtures a sense of accomplishment that comes from doing things simply because you want to, not because you have to. This process of self-improvement can also have a profound impact on your sense of self-worth. You become your own teacher, your own guide, and your own source of inspiration. The more you invest in your own growth, the more you discover about yourself, what brings you joy, what makes you feel alive, and what gives your life deeper meaning. As you embrace your independence, you find that you no longer need the approval or validation from others to continue evolving. The path of self-discovery becomes one that you walk on your own terms, at your own pace. The freedom to grow in this way is liberating, and the satisfaction that comes from nurturing your own intellectual, emotional, and spiritual development is unmatched. In this stage of life, growth doesn't stop, it flourishes. And the best part, you get to decide how and when to grow, free from any external pressure. This is the essence of personal fulfillment, a continuous journey of learning, expanding, and becoming without the need for validation from anyone else. 5. Enjoying the simple pleasures. Life's quiet. Joys. As we age, many of us come to realize that the grand pursuits of youth, chasing status, climbing the career ladder, filling our days with constant activity, don't hold the same weight they once did. The need for social validation and external recognition fades, and we begin to appreciate something much simpler, the quiet joys of life. At 70 and beyond, there is an exquisite satisfaction in the little things. The sound of birdsong in the morning, the feel of sunlight on your face, the smell of fresh flowers, or the comfort of a warm cup of tea. In youth, we often overlook these small moments, driven by a desire to achieve more, do more, and be more. We're taught that happiness lies in external accomplishments, but with age, we come to see that true fulfillment is found in the quiet, everyday moments that we experience when we're fully present. When you embrace independence, you have the freedom to cultivate and savor these simple pleasures without the distraction of trying to meet others' needs. You don't have to hurry through life or rush to meet someone else's agenda. You're free to slow down and take it all in. Imagine sitting by a window on a quiet afternoon, enjoying the view, or reading a book that makes your soul feel at ease. It's in these moments that you realize how rich life can be, even when it's not filled with constant noise or activity. The absence of the hustle and bustle of maintaining social connections gives you the space to truly enjoy these moments of peace. You don't need a busy social calendar or endless social obligations to feel content. Whether you're strolling through a park, listening to your favorite music, or simply having time to reflect, these small experiences become the foundation of a deeply satisfying life. In fact, the older we get, the more we understand the value of stillness. In the past, you may have filled your time with endless activities, parties, and events, believing that happiness was something to be sought externally. But now, with independence, you realize that joy is found in these quiet, everyday pleasures. Life becomes richer, not in the quantity of experiences, but in the quality of the ones you choose to embrace. By embracing this way of living, free from the constant pressure to engage socially, you unlock a deeper, more peaceful joy. You begin to treasure the stillness, the simplicity, and the calm that comes from choosing solitude. These moments, often overlooked in our younger years, become the most meaningful aspects of life. You learn that happiness doesn't need to come from a packed schedule or constant social interaction. It's already present in the little quiet things. 6. Freedom to pursue passions without compromise. One of the greatest joys of living independently in your later years is the ability to fully dedicate yourself to the things that truly light you up. For much of our lives, we often make compromises, whether it's putting our own interests on hold to care for others or sacrificing personal time to meet the needs of family, friends, or a career. But once you've reached your 70s, the landscape changes. The time you have left is yours to command, and that opens up an incredible opportunity to pursue passions and interests that have always been simmering on the back burner. Whether it's something you've always wanted to try, like learning to play an instrument or taking up painting or diving deeper into a lifelong hobby, independence grants you the freedom to follow your passions without compromise. No more juggling family responsibilities, work obligations, or social commitments. Now you can devote your time and energy to what excites you, what nurtures your spirit, and what brings you joy. Imagine waking up in the morning with the luxury of choosing how to spend your day, without the pressure to please anyone or meet an external expectation. You can follow your curiosity, explore new creative outlets, or even start a new project that's been on your mind for years. This is the freedom of independence after 70. The ability to pursue what you want to do on your own terms without any guilt or obligation. Many people reach their later years and find that the pursuit of their passions becomes one of the most fulfilling aspects of life. This could mean dedicating yourself to gardening, taking long hikes in nature, volunteering for a cause that's close to your heart, or simply spending hours lost in a book that inspires you. When you're free from the pull of external commitments, your time is your own, And in that freedom, you can finally do the things that bring you joy and make you feel most alive. In your 70s and beyond, you are in a position to focus entirely on yourself, something that is often difficult to do in younger years. There's no longer the need to apologize for prioritizing your own needs and interests. In fact, you've earned the right to be selfish in this regard. Pursuing your passions not only brings a sense of fulfillment, but it also contributes to your well-being. Engaging in activities you love reduces stress, boosts your mood, and enhances your overall quality of life. In many ways, this stage of life is the perfect time to stop waiting for permission to follow your passions. You've spent years compromising, caring for others, and trying to meet everyone else's needs. Now it's your turn. Independence offers the gift of time that you can spend pursuing what truly matters to you without having to justify or explain your choices to anyone. So, embrace this newfound freedom. Dive into the things that light your soul on fire and let yourself experience the joy of fully pursuing what you love without compromise or hesitation. This is your time, and your passions are worth the pursuit. 7. Reclaiming your health and well-being. As we age, health naturally becomes a top priority, and it's one of the most empowering benefits of independence. When we're younger, we often share our routines, goals, and even struggles with others, relying on friends, family, or even social groups to help us stay accountable and motivated. But as you enter your 70s, you begin to realize that your health is deeply personal and requires a tailored approach, one that can only truly be cultivated when you're free to focus on your own well-being without the distractions of external demands. Living independently in your later years means you can choose the lifestyle that best suits you without the need to cater to others' habits, schedules, or preferences. You get to decide what feels right for your body, whether it's engaging in regular exercise, eating nourishing foods, or creating a peaceful environment that supports your mental health. By making decisions that prioritize your health and well-being, you invest in your own vitality, which becomes the foundation of an enjoyable and fulfilling life. The beauty of reclaiming your health at this stage is that you can approach it from a place of self-awareness. You know your body better than anyone else. You understand its limits, its needs, and its potential. No one can tell you what's best for your body better than you can, and when you're not burdened by the expectations or needs of others, you're in the perfect position to focus entirely on self-care. You're free to create a routine that supports your health goals, whether that means getting up early to practice yoga, making healthier food choices, or prioritizing sleep and rest. Moreover, independence allows you to move at your own pace. You're not forced into a particular regimen to meet someone else's standards. You can engage in activities that bring joy to your life, whether that's a daily walk in the park, enjoying a peaceful moment of meditation, or taking up hobbies that improve both your physical and mental health. The beauty of aging independently is that you don't need to constantly seek approval or validation in the way you care for your health. You simply honor your body's needs and give it what it requires to thrive. By embracing your independence after 70, you gain a profound sense of empowerment over your own health. The freedom to create a life that nourishes your physical, mental, and emotional well-being allows you to age with grace, vitality, and strength. There's no need to wait for someone else to tell you how to care for yourself. The choice is entirely in your hands. Your health is your most valuable asset, and independence gives you the opportunity to invest in it fully. Conclusion: the power of independence at 70 and beyond. As we journey through life, we're often taught that happiness is something that comes from relationships, social interactions, and constant connection with others. And while these elements can certainly enhance our lives, they are not the sole keys to fulfillment. When you reach your 70s and beyond, you're afforded the unique opportunity to realize that true happiness doesn't have to rely on others. It can be found in independence, in the freedom to live life on your own terms, and in the peace that comes from embracing who you are without the pressure of social expectations. In the chapters of your life that lie ahead, independence becomes a powerful tool, one that gives you the space to focus on your own happiness, growth, and well-being. With no need to constantly manage the drama or meet the needs of others, you can live with clarity, joy, and a sense of inner peace. The simple pleasures of life become more meaningful, and the pursuit of your passions is no longer compromised by external obligations. Living without the constant pressure to fulfill expectations offers profound emotional freedom. You are free to be yourself, free to make mistakes without fear of judgment, and free to live life according to your own desires and rhythms. The relationships you've had over the years, whether they were deep and lasting or brief, have taught you valuable lessons. But now is the time to embrace the gift of solitude, the chance to rediscover yourself and to create a life that is uniquely your own. The road ahead, after 70, holds so much possibility. It is not about looking backward or trying to recapture what's already past, but about embracing the present moment and finding new ways to enrich your life. You've earned the right to live freely without the burden of expectation or the need for constant companionship. Happiness is something you cultivate within, and the freedom of independence allows you to nurture that joy in ways that only you can define. So let go of the belief that you need others to be happy. Embrace the incredible gift of independence that comes with age. Celebrate your ability to live life on your own terms, free from the distractions of society's demands. It is in this freedom that you will discover a deeper peace, fulfillment, and joy. One that lasts no matter how many years pass. This is your time to thrive.